Welcome to the Unfinished Work Show. I am Mike Lake in the building with episode 11. This one's called Setbacks. If it wasn't obvious from the title card, I fractured my foot this week. But more on that in a second. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me here today. This one's going to be pre-recorded because I should actually, by the time you're seeing this, be in Austin, Texas on my bachelor party. Looking to have a good time with the homies, celebrate before I give my nuptials to my lovely lady. And that's how you say it, right? Nuptials? I don't know. I'm not a big, into the weddings guy. This is my first time being married, but that's neither here nor there. To get into the story, or let's say the topic of setbacks, I'm going to do it a little differently this week, especially since it's pre-recorded. We'll talk a little bit about story. Now, the story is everywhere. You see stories in movies, TVs, all kind of content, games, whatever. But story is a basic part of life. You have rules, warnings, pitfalls, triumphs, and resolutions. A major aspect of storytelling is the plot, progress, and setback. That's the point at which we know all too well where things are looking like they're going according to plan, and boom, the opposition gets back and surprises us. Things look bleak, and if anyone other than a 6-year-old's watching, you know this is a setup, because often the hero will overcome. However, in that moment, during the long pauses, the deep breaths, the scared looks, and the dead silence, hell, even a smoke-filled TV screen, therein lies the setback.
I had a dream that God gave me fly for my own good, so God gave me play. Struggle, another sign that God love you, 'cause on the low, being poor make you humble.
Last week's episode was called This is Happiness. I turned 38. I recounted some personal achievements, milestones I conquered, and plans for the future. And not once did I mention adding the toe fracture. Now, I fractured the first metatarsal, as they call it. That's the bone that connects your big toe to the rest of your foot. Now, I wish I had some cool story about how I broke my foot, overcoming the odds despite having a broken toe. And this is when I would cut into some, and then I stuck my foot out to stop the purse snatcher. Got the purse back, but broke my toe kind of story. Nope. I worked out Saturday. I was day 48 on my 75 hard challenge. I went to dinner with my lady. I volunteered at church protecting the kids in the hallway on Sunday morning. Then I went and played golf. As Don would tell it, I broke my toe playing golf. That's not what happened. But I played golf for the first time. Then even after that, we had dinner again, walking around, doing fine, packing for lunch or packing for work the next day. Everything's rolling smooth. Pretty uneventful. I woke up Monday morning in pain with a swollen foot. And then even after that, thinking I'm just getting old and not really thinking anything's going on, I more or less went to work. I drove 3 hours back and forth and even worked 8 hours. At one point having to take my shoe off because the swelling was so bad and just not really knowing what was going on. Ended up going to the foot doctor. He took an x-ray, and at that point he told me I somehow broke my toe or fractured my first metatarsal. Oh man, what a lame injury. And an even lamer story, I know. Oddly enough, this is foot fracture number 2 in 2 years, which means I'm getting old. I don't know what that little mouth pop was about. That was very sassy of me. But both equally lame stories, and I know I've been riding high for most of this year, achieving goals and losing weight and hitting personal goals and public goals and all these different things. But this one's a setback.
Life will not always be 70 and sunny. Life is the ultimate competitor. It's relentless. It will continue to attack you when you least expect it. We must learn to adapt and overcome to any and all obstacles that are in front of us. When the obstacle gets in front of you, don't let it stop you. Don't let it deter you.
Now, often in these moments, people in real life take time off for a pity party, a victim conference, or some worse version of a woe is me type memorial. Now, admittedly, this is a minor inconvenience. It's just a broken toe, like a toe fracture. It did stop my 75 hard challenge on day 49 7 weeks straight, which is crazy to even hear me say. But the beauty of pursuing multiple goals is that when you hit an obstacle in one form or other, you actually can keep pushing towards your other goals until you're able to get back on your feet, if you will. I'm not going to be doing foot puns this whole episode. That one just kind of came out. So here it is, the plan to move forward. I found several YouTube videos providing workout tips for those with broken feet, which surprisingly enough to me, there was a lot of content. I guess people break their feet a lot. I don't know. My gym has a hand bike, one of those like things, which I actually try to get some video footage for y'all. So I'm sure that'll be pretty inspiring. Probably more comedic to see me do. What else I found? I'm checking my notes here. They have a hand bike. Now, like David Goggins said, life isn't always going to be 70 and sunny. And this is me adapting, evolving, making changes. I'm going to work harder on my diet. I actually thought about going sugar-free, switching it up to give the body a shock so I can trim off some more poundage and add some more muscle or whatever. But I have to do some more research to properly dive into that so I'm not out here getting sick. Lately, I've been doing calorie deficit, which I can still continue, but also just adding little tweaks to dig deeper in the pursuit of maintaining a healthy diet, but also still losing weight while not really being able to put in the cardio like I want to. My man's Donnie, he pledged aggressively as he does that he's gonna run me through his upper body workout, and I got some tips from Jerry and Steve too. All three of them are workout nuts. But that's the thing. This thing is like called using the resources around you. YouTube University, got friends who've done personal training and online coaching, and friends who are in general good shape themselves. Family, network, and internet, and just gonna have to get it. Now from Romans chapter 5 verse 3, the Bible says, "We triumph even in our troubles, knowing that trouble produces endurance, endurance produces character, and character produces hope." Going back to the story format, a protagonist has a goal, an antagonist has the opposite goal, and the setback happens when the opposition gains the upper hand. Think of karate movies. A hero takes a hard blow. In action movies, the main character is wounded. In rom-coms, the guy loses the girl because he's being an idiot. Personally, my favorite is Hitch. Fantasy movies, you got Sauron, Voldemort, or even Thanos. They deliver a major blow to the hero group. And real quick tangent, I think the end of Infinity War is one of the greatest setbacks in film history, just due to the scope of what happened in those 22 movies leading to that point. And then the fact that they literally made us wait a year for the resolution. I can't think of another time where that was the extended period at which we had to wait. Maybe in Star Wars from the second movie to the third, the whole Luke, I am your father scene. But that's neither here nor there. Major props to the MCU. But that's the point. Not knowing how it's going to turn out in the moment during the setback is part of the draw or the suspense of it all. Except I feel a whole lot different when you're waiting on the hero to win, when you're the main character in the story and you're living in the setback. Now, it happens to all of us in real life too. My goal was/is to complete the 75 hard challenge, be in amazing shape as I turn 40 and inspire others through leading from the front. Now, I have an injured limb and there's nothing much I could do about that. Sit down for 2 to 4 weeks. And it won't take me a year to get to my finale, but I will admit Monday night after the x-rays and walking in the boot, it was a bit of a struggle. It was a moment. I'm not going to say I cried or nothing like that, but my girl let me sit with it. She encouraged me to push forward, and I woke up Tuesday morning ready to plan the return. Now, this is where they cue the horns. And if I'm a savvy producer, as I think I am, I'll actually have the horns going right now while I'm talking. But there's always horns in that moment. Now, rock with me here. On the Unfinished Work Show, as I continue to share and hopefully inspire, I'm on the ropes, but I'm not out of the fight. Such a cliche way to say that. My goals are intact, my mind's intact, my plan's intact, and this is just the quiet part for the return. You are the main character in your story. What setbacks have you seen? How'd you overcome them? This could be as real as a death in the family, physical ailment, bad diagnosis, or it could be as trivial as a vehicle breakdown, lost job, or fractured toe. Share in the comments, be descriptive, and maybe your story will help connect or resonate with somebody else. Make sure you hit the like button for me. Share this to somebody who's having a setback. and send me words of encouragement or jokes at my expense for fun's sake. My friend group has certainly been having a good time with that one, but you can join in too. This is the Unfinished Work Show, and I'll be back next week with another lesson helping you to move forward towards your goals. My creator isn't done with me yet, and not you either. We are all unfinished works. We'll be back next week with episode 12. Thank you for joining.